Union, 1st District, Representative Paulo P. Ortega V. House Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs Chairperson and Tingog Party List, Representative Jude A. Asidre, and House Assistant Majority Leader, and ako Bicol Party List, Representative Raul Gil Bongalon. Before we open the floor for media questions, we invite our guests to share their opening remarks. Anybody, sir? Okay. Let us recognize Krisa Janelle Subing-Subing from Enquirer for today's first question.
Hello, good morning po, Kongs. So kahapon na nga po na-aresto na nga po si former PRRD, and ang sunod naman po nating waiting game ay yung ICC trial itself. Yung submissions po ni Matobato, Las Cañas ng drug war victims po, it's already substantial by themselves. But of course, marami pong evidence about the drug war that only surfaced during the Quadcom probe po. With the developments yesterday, is the House Quad Committee now more willing to share documents to the ICC that could help move the trial along? I know you said before na hindi po kayo open kasi public record naman siya, but of course this is now trial and iba po yung bigat ng official records coming from the House of Representatives.
Well, first of all, we would like to defer to the position of the chairpersons of the committee on how to proceed, especially with the release of the official records. But nonetheless, as what have been mentioned by the other branches of government, the Supreme Court in affirming the continuing obligations of our government with regards to matters or issues that have been presented and submitted before 2018 or 2018, no? If I'm not for as part of our continuing obligations, I think that would be a point of consideration. Kung ano man ang gagawin ng komite, I think it will be consistent with our continuing obligations under the ICC, despite our withdrawal in 2019.
Yung lang to add na lang, this actually cements the recommendations of the Quadcom, kasi nakita naman po natin during nung end po yung nakaraang session na nasabi naman po at nabigkas ang mga recommendations ng Quadcom. So siguro nabigyan po ng validation. Hindi naman po dapat i-validate, pero nabigyan ng validation po yung buong hearings ng Quadcom. At hindi naman po overnight itong sa ICC. Halos 7 taon po ang tinagal po nito at 7 taon din po na pinag-aralan itong kaso na to. But again, on the side of the Quadcom, sabi ko nga po, parang na bigyan lalo ng importansya yung mga nagawa na hearings ng Quadcom.
Well, for me, considering that we will be expecting a trial soon, and then when we speak of trial, there will be compulsory processes, like subpoenas. So if the ICC, International Criminal Court, will issue a subpoena, probably the Philippine government or the committee will exercise its discretion whether or not to cooperate, with or comply with the issuance of this subpoena. But then again, probably the discussions, the deliberations, and the testimonies uttered before the Quadcom hearings probably would enlighten the judges of the International Criminal Court, probably to have more evidence for the trial against the former president. So I guess if a compulsory process, for instance, a subpoena will be issued, most likely the committee will follow with that subpoena.
Just to clarify, sir, you mean if the ICC issues a subpoena to the committee, you think the committee will turn over the documents and evidence that they have?
Yes, that's my personal understanding. Even the Philippines is no longer a party because of the withdrawal, the ICC has already acquired jurisdiction over this case. And as mentioned, the testimonies of the witnesses who appeared before this committee investigations are publicly available. But if they really want the testimonies, the official transcript, as well as other pieces of evidence, of course, in adherence to the subpoena, probably the committee will comply.
Thank you for that. Yung next question ko naman po, speaking of the regulations of the Quadcom, what will happen now to the recommendation to file domestic charges against the former president under RA 9851? Kasi unless he is granted interim release under Article 60 of the Rome Statute, it's possible that he may not come home anymore until the end of the trial po. So what will happen to that?
You're asking if the Philippine government will still file
Yeah,
under
file
our
look,
current
yeah.
statute. I guess it's up to the administration or the present government. No? But considering that the ICC has already acquired jurisdiction over this case, and we have to emphasize that the crime filed or the charges filed against the former president is crimes against humanity, a crime that the ICC has jurisdiction. And if the ICC felt that there's no genuine prosecution of these particular allegations or these crimes, then definitely the ICC will come in. So, in other words, ito po ay protection doon sa mga bansa na kung talagang hindi nakakakuha ng hustisya, no, yung mga biktima or yung pamilya ng mga biktima, the ICC will come in, no? And there are specific charges where ICC can only take jurisdiction. And one of the crimes is crimes against humanity. And the other crimes are crimes of aggression, genocide, and war crimes. So these are specific crimes wherein the ICC can come in. Even the Philippines has already withdrawn in the Rome Statute. The fact remains that the case was filed prior to its withdrawal. In other words, the ICC has already acquired jurisdiction, and that is why the case prospered.
Last na po, kaninang umaga, the OVP confirmed that VP Sara has flown to the Netherlands na po to follow former President Duterte. For Attorney Bongalon, how will this affect the impeachment process po?
Well, the first thing that comes on my mind, probably, nawala na po ng isang defense lawyer, si VP Sara, right? Kasi, di ba, nung pumutok yung issue about the impeachment, isa sa mga nag-signify that will stand as legal counsel will be former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. So, with the arrest, and then they are now en route to The Hague, Netherlands, isa yan siguro sa mga epekto or implikasyon na mawawala ng isang defense counsel. Ito pong si VP Sara Duterte.
Thank you, Chris Chanel. Let's now turn to Tina Panganiban Perez from GMA7.
At least sa akin hindi po. Sir, baliktad naman yung tanong ko. What if may makuhang bagong evidence yung ICC on EJK? Gagamitin po ba yun ng prosecution in the impeachment trial? Pwede nating hingin yon?
Well, we can consider that because, again, any and all evidence that will, of course, make our case more strong or stronger definitely can be used against the impeachment complaint. But probably, if we can remember that the articles of impeachment was already filed before the Senate, and it's voluminous, and all the pieces of evidence were already attached to there. But of course, if there are other testimonial evidence, other witnesses who are willing to testify before the Senate sitting as an impeachment trial court, definitely we can consider that. But as of this moment, we have to study and we have to discuss it along with all other prosecution, the public as well as the private prosecutors.
Sir, pag may pag ongoing na yung impeachment trial, kailangan po bang magpaalam ni VP Sara kung meron siyang trips abroad, whether personal or official?
Well, for me, I cannot answer that as of this moment because, you know, when the impeachment trial, the trial per se has already started, trips by the respondent should be requested, I think, before the court. Because in ordinary litigation practice, if yung akusado ay gusto mag-travel abroad, kailangan po mag-seek ng permission sa husgado or sa judge. So again, that question would be best if we could ask the Senate once the trial start by, I don't know, when.
Opo, sir. Sir, on the tasking naman, sabi po kasi ni Kong Chua, may mga assignments na po kayo ng articles. Ano po yung assignment po ninyo, sir? Kong Jill.
Well, I was tasked to handle Article 2 of the Articles of Impeachment plus Article 3. And we are given the free will to join other articles, but I guess these two articles are already, enough for me to handle because we are considering that we will be discussing confidential funds of the OBP as well as the Department of Education. And Article 3 is with respect to the bribery among the officials of the DepEd. So these are the matters that were discussed thoroughly in the investigations of the Committee on Good Government. So with these two articles, for me, sapat na para sa akin, no, i-handle at pag-aralan. At yung iba naman, of course, yung mga kasama namin, we have already distributed, no, the taskings. Meron nang naka-assign sa Article 1 and other articles. So yun po yung mga napag-usapan namin, no, during the previous meetings. And this is in preparation for the upcoming trial.
Thank you, sir.
Tina Meralis Moras ng PTP4, you're recognized.
Hi, good morning, Kongs. Panggalingan ko lang po yung statement today nila Kong Zia at Kong Jude na this is about the victims, not ex-President Duterte. Quadcom leaders urge focus on the families of Tokhang killings amid former president's arrest. Can you just elaborate po yung statement? And yun nga, don't you think, Kongs, masyado pong na-highlight si dating Pangulong Duterte sa pagkaka-aresto niya due to the ICC case? And kahit ang daming mga rally, ang daming ding mga interview ng mga families ng EJK victims, parang hindi sila masyadong nabibigyang pansin. Ano pong nakikita nyong rason dito at yun yung elaboration po ng statement?
Well, palagi natin sinasabi, no, we've been consistently repeating it. Itong nangyari kahapon, ang pag-aresto kay dating Pangulong Duterte ay hindi ho, itong pangyayaring ito hindi ho dahil kay, sana ito natin yung pansin natin, hindi kay Presidente Duterte, kung dun sa mga biktima ng AJK, napakarami po nila. Nung nagsimula po yung trial, nagsimula po yung Quadcom hearings, no, nagkaroon ako ng pagkakataong makausap ang marami sa kanila. And many of them are children. You have Kian de los Santos, hindi ako nagkakamali, was only 17 years old, grade 11, taga Caloocan. Meron si Carlo Angelo Hernais, valedictorian nung high school, 19 years old, nag-aaral sa UP. Ang ginawa sa kanya, nawala siya, bibili lang sana ng merienda, pero nakita after 10 days, if hindi ako nagkakamali, ang sabi ng pulis, dinakip siya dahil sinubukan niyang i-hold up yung isang taxi driver. Nandun si Reynaldo Colot de Guzman, 14 years old, taga Nueva Ecija. Nandun si Danica May Garcia, 5 years old, taga Dagupan. Nandun si Althea Barbon, 4 years old, taga Negros. Si Skylar Abatay, 4 years old, taga Cebu. Yung taga Cebu, nasa likod lang siya ng motor ng tatay niya. Si Maika Ulpina, 3 years old. 3 years old. Pinakabata sigurong AJK victims. I think habang nangyayari ho kahapon, habang iniisip natin, habang minomonitor natin yung nangyayari, alam mo, sa totoo lang, yun yung pabalik-balik sa isip ko. Yung mga victims. Katulad niya nung sinabi nung isang nanay, isang victim, sabi niya, sinasabi nila na we surrender daw our sovereignty sa sa pagka-aresto ni former President Duterte dahil sa ICC warrant. Pero hindi ba mas nakakalungkot na kailangang isang korte sa labas ng bansa pa ang mag-utos para magkaroon ng hustisya yung mga AJK victim? Hindi ba nakakalungkot yon? Kaya nga, iniiwasan ko yung word na Thanksgiving o celebration eh. Kasi sa totoo lang ho, itong mga panahon na to, dapat simulan natin yung paghihilom, lalong-lalo na sa AJK victims. I think we owe it to them to make sure na simulan na yung healing, but that healing will come only through one thing, through justice. At itong ginagawa ho nating exercise, lalong-lalo na sa yung trial sa ICC, ay kasama po doon sa paghilom, ang paghahanap po ng katarungan at pagbibigay pananagutan sa taong posible dumeno nagsimula at nag-utos ng mga pangyayaring ito.
Saka siguro magandang isipin din natin, saka alalahanin. Dapat hindi makalimutan ng taong bayan itong mga biktima ng AJK. Itong mga taong namatay ng walang rason, pinagbababansagan sila na collateral damage lang. This is a story of justice. Kwento po to ng hustisya, itong mga nangyayari ngayon. But this story is not yet over. And ang kasiguraduhan lang po ay hindi po natutulog ang hustisya, saka hindi po natutulog ang Diyos.
And I think si Attorney Bongalan can also answer this, and also other congressman pwede rin po. Sabi kasi ni Attorney Panelo, illegal yung pagkakadetain kay former President Duterte. Di ba kahapon ang tagal din bago po siya naibiyahe? Kasi wala naman daw warrant from any Philippine court, at yung authority ng ICC should not be recognized dahil nga hindi na tayo member. Any thoughts po?
Okay. So, well, on that aspect, again, we have to remember that the effectivity of the withdrawal of the Philippine government under the Rome Statute took effect last March of 2019. But the case was filed prior to its withdrawal. In other words, the International Criminal Court has already acquired jurisdiction over it. The investigation has already started. And the issuance of the warrant is legal and valid pursuant to the international rules. So having said that, the issuance of the warrant was of course issued, and it was coordinated with the Interpol, of which wherein the Philippine government is a party. And being a party, we have the obligation and we are duty-bound to have this warrant of arrest be implemented. And that is why the warrant, as issued hours before the arrival of former President Duterte in the Philippines, in other words, natanggap na po ng gobyerno yung tinatawag na warrant of arrest. And wala tayong magagawa but to implement and effect the warrant. So yung sinasabi naman na illegal arrest or in detention, I would like to inform Attorney Panelo of the provisions under the Rules of Court, which states that, basahin natin. Sinasabi is that when making an arrest by virtue of a warrant, the arresting officer must inform the person to be arrested of the cause of the arrest and the fact that a warrant has been issued. Ibig sabihin, the officer is not required to have the warrant in their possession at the time of the arrest. And sinasabi pa po dito, and if the person arrested requests to see the warrant, it must be shown to them as soon as practicable. These rules or particular rule under the rules of court was, of course, upheld and reiterated in a jurisprudence case decided by the Supreme Court, wherein the Supreme Court emphasized that the constitutional requirement to inform the person of the reason for the arrest and the exercise of and the existence of a warrant must be observed. However, the physical presentation of the warrant can be deferred if circumstances make it impractical at the time of the arrest. We have to be clear on this. A warrant has already been issued. The warrant is digital. It was sent online. So, as to the existence of a warrant, the warrant is existing. It was coursed through to the proper channels. It was informed. The government was properly informed. So, by being a member of the International Criminal Police Organization or the Interpol, we are duty-bound to implement and effect the warrant.
If I may add, no, I think the jurisdiction of the ICC, despite our withdrawal from the Rome Statute, has been affirmed already by the Supreme Court, especially in the ruling in Pangilinan versus Cayetano. No? Sinabi na despite our withdrawal, our obligations remain, especially for cases that has been initiated before the withdrawal took effect in 2019. And that includes this. The cases filed at the ICC against the former president. I think what many are doing, especially on the Duterte camp, no, are trying to confuse the people with all these technicalities. When what happened yesterday was fair, nakita naman natin, nandun yung warrant, it was served, binasa yung Miranda rights, and then he was taken in custody, and then proper medical attention was given, and then the country is duty-bound to deliver him to the Interpol, who in turn will deliver the former president to The Hague. I think everything subscribes to the provisions of the rules of the ICC as well as the Rome Statute, and I don't think there's any reason to believe that there was invalidity or that the arrest was illegal.
Nagpapapansin lang.
Sorry, ihabol ko na rin yung isang tanong po ni Ate Kathleen Forbes. Sabi ni SP Cheese, dun sa kanyang statement about this issue, I also call on those running in the midterm elections to refrain from using this issue to fan the flames of partisanship in order to further their candidacies, as this is a serious issue that involves lives and should not be trifled with for petty personal or political gain. Do you share the same call po?
For once, no, I would agree with the Senate President. Hindi po ito usapin ng tungkol sa kay President Duterte, hindi ito usapin ng kampo ng mga Duterte versus kanino. Ito pa yung usapin ng krimen na nagawa, di ba? Extrajudicial killings will always be illegal. It will always be against the law. Hindi naman pwedeng ang fight against drug, kailangan na mamili kung it cannot be a choice between justice and mercy. We have to apply the rule of law. And in this case, we cannot allow personalities to define the narrative, whether it's pro or against. Dapat, kaya ako paulit-ulit, dapat ang attention natin nandun sa mga biktima. Sila po dapat ang binibigyan natin ng pansin. Kung sino man ang kailangang managot sa pagpatay sa mga taong ito, sa mga biktima ng AJK, kailangan managot. Ano man ang naging posisyon niya sa gobyerno natin.
Susundan ko yung sinabi ni Kong Jude, no? Nag-agree talaga tayo dyan. Kasi nga, nung ito ay mga kasong nahain, wala pa po kami lahat dito sa 19th Congress. Nasa kanya-kanyang mga buhay pa kami noon. Ako, konsehal, si Kong Jude, nandito pero not as a congressman. Si Jill, has been working in the province and practicing law. So, wala talagang, yung decision na to, sabi ko nga, 7 years. Wala pa kami lahat dito. So, talagang, parang kailangan nilang tignan maigi. Mahirap kasi pag, pag gusto mo, pabor lahat sa'yo. Hindi pwedeng pabor lahat sa'yo. Dapat accountable ka for your actions. Hindi naman pwedeng maghari-harian ka na lang habang buhay. Kasi sabi ko nga, hindi natutulog ang hustisya. Bilog ang bola.
Yes, I